welcome back to my channel. So today it's time for my monthly rundown of the latest perfume releases. So I'm going to be taking you through them all, letting you know what they smell like. If you are new here, then hello and welcome. I'm all about perfumes. Every month I do a video like this, so do check out my previous months. And if you're a regular, do make sure you're subscribed and give the video a thumbs up. That really helps me. And down below in the description box, I'll leave the links to where you can get all the perfumes I mentioned, where they're available all around the world. And of course, the link to my blog, SokiLondon.com, which has detailed articles on whole ranges, perfume notes, as well as where you can get my fragrances, Empress, Aphrodite, my super concentrated soy wax candles, and of course, don't forget I have my limited edition super concentrated Christmas candles, candy cane and Christmas tree, which are just going to be available now around Christmas. Cool, so where should I start? I think I'll start with the latest from Armani. This is one that I had so many questions from you guys about. This is the new Armani C Intense. There's been so many versions of Armani C released over the years. This is the third Intense version. This originally came in a black bottle, C Intense, and it had quite a lot of blackcurrant in, along with patchouli that's in the original C and some vanilla. We then got C Intense 2021. This was my favorite. This was a really good blackcurrant, really strong depth, had some similarities to my Empress perfume. That's now discontinued, and now we have the C Intense. One thing I noticed about this is the previous versions were called C Intense, whereas this is called C Eau de Parfum Intense. And for me, I think that's representing that this is more of a stronger, intense version of the original C than it is a standalone fragrance on itself, like the previous C Intense was. So it is very similar to C Intense. It does still have the blackcurrant note in. It definitely has the C DNA, and I think that's more noticeable than the previous Intense version. So I definitely get more vanilla than was in the 2021 C Intense, and it is like a stronger version of the original C Eau de Parfum with some blackcurrant added. It's still a really good perfume. The C fragrances, the Eau de Parfums really do last and project, and it's great for this time of year. It's quite cozy with all that patchouli in. So it is a good perfume. I do prefer the previous version, but I definitely like this new bottle. It has the C logo sort of embossed on it in gold. And if you're looking for a strong winter perfume, then this is definitely one to try. If you like original C or you liked C Intense, I think you will like the new C Intense. I do have an article on my blog going through all the different versions of C, so do check that out for more information. Next up, we have a new release from Coach, and this is called Coach Love. It comes in this really bright, hot red perfume bottle, and this has a strawberry top note, but for me this is actually a little bit more floral than it is strawberry. It has a rose heart, and to me something like a freesia in here as well. So it's like a floral strawberry. It's not super strawberry in the way that Kate Spade New York is, or Marc Jacobs Daisy Intense is, and of course Empress has a lot of strawberry in. This to me is more floral and then strawberry, so it's not super strawberry, which for some people is good, for some people is less good. Yeah, first when you spray it, you do get a bit of a sweet strawberry, but it's very quickly becomes a green flowery heart. It's quite light, it's quite easy going. I do like the Coach perfumes. I think their price point is pretty good for the strength. This is an Eau de Parfum, and they all come with these little sort of keychains, and this one has a heart. They all have different like Coach keychains. It's pretty, it's everyday, it's definitely daytime, it's not heavy. The heavier one from Coach is Wild Rose, which is a really good strong rose perfume, and Coach Floral Blush is probably still my favorite from Coach. That's a really fun grapefruit and peony combination. So next up we have a new one from Elie Saab. So the Elie Saab fragrance is made by the designer Elie Saab, who's famous for their beautiful gowns and wedding dresses. It doesn't surprise me that they've made a bridal perfume. I always find that the original Elie Saab de Parfum, which is a beautiful orange blossom, orange flower fragrance that I absolutely love, is great for weddings. They also have Elie Saab in white, which is a very fun wedding-y fragrance. So wasn't surprised that they brought out one called Bridal. This is actually very different to the original Elie Saab Le Parfum because it's very deep and ambery. So we do still have the white florals of the original, the orange blossom. There's some gardenia and ylang ylang in here, which is similar to Elie Saab in white. But what I really get more so is a deep amber base. So for me, the branding, the bottle make me think this is going to be quite light, and often these wedding type perfumes are quite light, but this is actually quite heavy. It's more like the Elie Saab Elixir, Elie Saab Le Parfum Royal, which have a more ambery, spicy Middle Eastern feel to them. Elie Saab is Lebanese, so it does make sense that he would have that more like Middle Eastern influence on their fragrances. But this is definitely one for fans of deep amber benzoin fragrances. It's definitely classy. I really love all the Elie Saab perfumes. I find them all really classy, but it's not a safe blind buy. If you're a fan of the original, I would just stick with the original. Next, we have a fun release from Escada. I do love the Escada perfumes. I find them really fun. These Love perfumes come in these really unique heart-shaped bottles. They do stand up by themselves, and they're quite a heavy bottle, like they feel good quality. This one is whipped cream and cherries, so definitely one for sweet perfume fans. It's kind of like going into a cupcake shop. You've got that whipped cream, that cupcake vanilla-y feel, and then in the top note you have a cherry, so it's kind of like those glacé cherries that you get in bakery stores. Definitely one for fans of sweet perfumes. It's kind of like the early Ariana Grande fragrances, very cupcake, a little bit like Britney Spears Fantasy, which also has a cupcake note in. So definitely a fun, sweet, little bit fruity perfume, but overall I get a very sugary vanilla whipped cream note from this. Next, we have a new one from Chloe. This is the new Chloe L'Eau de Luminous. This is actually quite different to the previous versions of the Chloe perfume, which have all been very rose focused. The original has rose and lychee. They've all been quite pretty flowery scents. This one has a balmy amber note in it, which reminds me more of the Chloe Nomad fragrances. The main note here, along with the amber, is jasmine. So these are heavier notes, these are warmer notes, definitely more autumnal winter. The rose is still there, and that signature DNA of the original is still there, but it's definitely in the background with these balmy, warm notes coming through. As a result, I think this is a little bit stronger and better projecting than the other Chloe perfumes, and definitely more, warmer and wintry. I actually really like that because it's got the body and the depth, and it's a little bit more interesting. And especially this time of year, you don't always want like a fresh floral, you want something a bit more cozy. And jasmine is a note that I'm seeing Chloe use a lot in all their perfumes, and I like that it's the star of the show in this. So I do really like this release. I think it's classy. I think it's feminine and has that Chloe feminine floral note, but having these additional notes in just really add to it and make it more interesting. Another really interesting new release is from Tocca, and it's the new Tocca Lucia. Now, kind of like Chloe, a lot of the previous Tocca perfumes have been very flowery or quite musky, very feminine. This one for me feels much more unisex. It has some inspiration from the sea, so it has some oceanic notes, salty water, but the main note here is actually a fig note, and it's a fig leaf. So there is a little bit of the fruity fig in here, but I definitely get the fig leaf more, which makes this quite green and interesting. And it has a lot of citrus top notes, grapefruit, and I think that grapefruit and the fig combination to me is creating a slightly minty scent. So it's quite refreshing, but it's also quite aromatic, a little bit herbal. There's some vetiver in the base. There's a lot going on. To me, this is probably one of the most unique perfumes I've seen from Tocca. It's interesting, it's fresh but still warm. It has these green notes in. Fig is a really quite unique note, particularly fig leaf. Even though it's marketed as a fragrance for women, I definitely think it's unisex, but it's interesting, and I found that it projected better than a lot of the previous Tocca fragrances as well, which were just more musky floral. This has got a lot more going on. So I do really like this. It feels different, it feels interesting, and it does feel gender neutral. We have a new celebrity fragrance. This is Fortitude from Bugsy Malone, the rapper. This is a unisex fragrance, though to me it is leaning a little bit more towards a masculine scent, and the branding feels quite masculine, quite blingy as well. It opens with this sort of typical fresh bergamot, orange, citrus top note, and then it has a cardamom in, which again is quite It's fresh, but adds a spiciness to it. I also get quite a lot of sandalwood and vanilla in this. It's like a fresher version of Male Million perfume, which has loads of vanilla in. This is like a fresher version of that in my view. It's pretty strong. You can really smell it, and it's, I think if you're looking for a gifting this Christmas for someone who's into like the rapper scene, probably sort of 20s or even teenage, who's into the sort of UK rapper scene, then I think this one, if you're a fan of Bugsy Malone, of course you'll like this. It is Bugsy Malone the rapper, not Bugsy Malone the musical, which shout out to anyone who loves that musical. I love that. Well, the song We Could Have Been Anything That We Wanted to Be. I really love that musical, but it sadly is not a perfume for that. It is the rapper called Bugsy Malone who has a Z in his name, not an S. And then lastly, there are 3 fragrances from a brand called House Entropia. This is actually a Spanish clothing brand that's just launched fragrances here in the UK, inspired by parts of Spain. I do have a video going in depth into all of these, just like all of these perfumes, but we have Manuela, which is inspired by the Spanish islands, very citrusy. We have Gadia, which is a little bit greener, sort of representing the greenery in the mountains in Spain. And then we have Casilda, which has a little bit of a fruity note in it. And it actually really reminded me of my Empress perfume. It was like a lighter version of Empress. So it has a pear top note like Empress, peony, jasmine, and then caramel in the base. So it's a combination that's really quite similar to Empress, but it definitely is lighter. Empress is an intense perfume. This is just an eau de parfum. But if you like Empress, then that could definitely be layered with it if you're looking for something a bit lighter. These are exclusive to the fragrance shop in the UK, as is the Bugsy Malone one, so I'll leave the links to all of these where you can get all of these down below in the description box as always, guys. But yeah, that's it. Those are all the new releases. Don't forget, of course, I have my new Christmas limited edition candles that have also been released, and that will be disappearing soon as they're sold out. But yeah, let me know what your favorite releases have been this month. There's not many coming up. I don't know if I'll be able to do a video like this in December because they've all been released in advance of Christmas, but if there are new ones coming out, I will try and get them for you. Let me know what else you'd like me to review that's new that I haven't been able to get my hands on yet. But that's it, guys. So thanks so much for watching as always, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.